One of the biggest controversies plaguing the nation in recent days has been the illegal transfer of public lands in the name of private individuals. It has now come to the light that many documents at the Land Revenue Office were forced to give official stamp to a heinous activity hinting at a massive corruption scandal involving government officials and land mafias. Good morning, I am Prarambha Dahal. Let's begin with the main stories. Ownership of as much as 150 ropenis of public land in the capital illicitly transferred to private companies and individuals. Stakeholder authorities remain silent on irregularities. Patients having a hard time getting treatment at the country's major hospitals. Dismal management leads to poor health services. France and Iran agreed to look at conditions for resuming talks to save Tehran's nuclear deal with the world powers. And semi-final equation at the ICC World Cup drawn as India take on New Zealand in the first semi-final. Australia pitted against England in the second semi-final clash. Let us now begin with the latest national political updates. It has been revealed that the ownership of public lands under the records of Land Revenue Office itself have been forced as private in the names of different individuals and organizations. Some of the officials at the Revenue Office have been found to have described around 150 ropenis of public lands in Kathmandu as privately owned, breaching the legal provision. As per a recent revelation, as much as 150 ropenis of lands enlisted under the public category at the Land Revenue Office Delhi Bazaar have been found to have transferred in the names of banks, finance companies and individuals. The Office of the Attorney General uncovered the irregularities of the officials at the Land Revenue Office during auditing. The officials at the Department of Land Management and the concerned ministry, however, have remained mum over the issue. This has further fueled suspicion that the staff from the lower to the topmost positions have been involved in the illicit transfer of the land's ownership. Analysts are of the view that the government should expedite process to prosecute the individuals involved in irregularities abusing their authorities. Lawmakers of the ruling Nepal Communist Party themselves have strongly criticized the government of making one after another controversial decisions and not being able to stick to any appropriate decision either. Speaking at yesterday's parliament meeting, a majority of lawmakers alleged the government of not holding adequate discussion within the party before taking any decision or introducing a bill. They added that such a tendency of the government has tarnished the party's reputation due to repeated controversies. The lawmakers said that the very reason has also provoked the parliamentary committee itself to stand against the government's decision. Likewise, the ruling party lawmakers also expressed stern discontent towards the government for suspending the decision to monitor imported fruits and vegetables for toxic chemical residues. Former Prime Minister and senior leader Madhav Kumar Nepal said that backtracking from the decision, merely relenting to the Indian government's pressure, was objectionable. Meanwhile, the lawmakers also objected towards ministers choosing development projects by keeping their respective districts in priority. It is now time for a short break, but for more news, do stay with us. It is obvious for anyone to expect easy access to treatment and other medical facilities at hospitals. However, treatment is hardly accessible in large and major hospitals in the capital itself. Patients who are physically weak and from distant places are compelled to go through a number of unnecessary hassles. This is the queue of the patients waiting to receive their tickets for treatment at the Tribhuvan University Teaching Hospital. The hospital administration does not distribute the tickets before 8 a.m. However, the patients and their families queue up from 5 a.m. in the morning to get hold of the tickets. The hospital begins to function only after 9. The condition at Bir Hospital, private hospitals and Patan Hospital is no different. Civil Hospital has implemented token system to address the significant inflow of patients. Patients have to wait for at least 4 hours to receive the tokens and tickets. Even after receiving the tickets, the patients are not ensured easy treatment. There are limited seating arrangements in front of the treatment facility, which compels the patients to stand for a long time. Because of such troubles, patients who reach the hospitals expecting remedy from their ailments are compelled to go through additional plights. It is up to the concerned authorities and hospital managements to ensure easy and efficient access of treatment for patients, especially who come from far and remote regions. Welcome back. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked the people's representatives and the activists of marginalized communities of Rupandei district what needs to be done to eradicate caste-based discrimination in the country. Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
कानुन दायरामा लिएर एउटा प्र्याक्टिकली यसलाई चाहिँ इम्प्लिमेन्टेसन गर्नु पर्यो.
हामी दलित र गैर बीचको एउटा अन्तर्घुलन र यसमा पनि उहाँलाई अवेयरनेस पनि दिनुपर्छ.
तिनै तहको सरकारले कानुन कडा गर्दा कडा गराउनुपर्छ.
कानुनी हिसाबबाट लेखेर कारबाहीमा लानुपर्ने हाम्रो मान्यता छ र हाम्रो माग छ.
हामीले पहिला छोइदियो भने नखानी अनि तर्केर हिँड्ने खानी मन छैन भनेर हिँड्ने गर्नुहुन्छ अनि त्यो पनि एकदम निगरानीसित हटाउनुपर्छ.
मन्दिर जाँदा अनि पूजा गर्दा भेदभाव जसले गर्छ त्यसलाई तुरुन्त कारबाही हुनुपर्छ.
कानुनी रूपमा किताबमा लेखेर मात्र हुँदैन, यो कानुनको दायरामा ल्याउने
स्थानीय सरकारले समन्वय गरेर यो समस्या चाहिँ समाधान गर्नुपर्छ.
जसले हामीलाई छुवाछुत गर्छ त्यसलाई तत्काल कानुनको कटकरामा भएर कारबाही हुनुपर्छ.
It is now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
The question is, what do you term the condition where patients have to spend a lot of time in queues for various reasons at hospitals? Your options are A. Managerial weakness, B. High inflow of patients, and C. Consequence of centralized service. The voting is on. You can type NEWS, select your option A, B or C, and then send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. It is now time for our daily special segment Around the World.
A month after the Bharatiya Janata Party BJP, led by Narendra Modi, stormed to victory in Indian general election, clinching a massive mandate, Rahul Gandhi, the leader of main opposition Congress, resigned earlier this week, despite party leaders hoping Rahul would change his mind. As he tweeted the resignation letter, he took responsibility for the party's defeat in the election. Gandhi also added, while he had no hatred or anger towards India's ruling BJP, every living cell in his body instinctively resists their idea of India. The hide-and-seek between North Korea and the US has continued this week as well, days after leaders of the two countries held a historic meeting in the heavily fortified, demilitarized zone that resulted into an agreement to resume nuclear talks. North Korea accused the US of being hell-bent on hostile acts. Pyongyang's delegation to the United Nations said on Wednesday that the US was obsessed with sanctions. In the meantime, Donald Trump became the first sitting US president to set foot in North Korea last Sunday. After talks that lasted for almost an hour, the pair had agreed to set up teams to resume stalled negotiations on denuclearization. But the North Korean statement on Thursday marked a shift in tone and a return to the angry exchanges that have marred relations between the countries in recent times. Meanwhile, giving some respite to the escalating trade war, the United States and China agreed to resume trade negotiations, easing a protracted row that has fueled a global economic slowdown. US President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping reached the agreement on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Japan. Trump said the talks had been excellent. He had earlier threatened to impose an additional $300 billion in tariffs on Chinese imports. However, after the meeting in Osaka, he confirmed that Washington would not be adding the additional tariffs and that he would continue to negotiate with Beijing for the time being. This is Sarah Sapsanama for Kantipur News Desk.
And now, before we wrap up, here's a look at the top stories one more time. Ownership of as much as 150 rupees of public land in the capital illicitly transferred to private companies and individuals. Stakeholder authorities remain silent on irregularities. Patients having a hard time getting treatment at the country's major hospitals. Dismal management leads to poor health services. France and Iran agree to look at conditions for resuming talks to save Tehran's nuclear deal with world powers. And semi-final equation at the ICC World Cup drawn as India take on New Zealand in the first semi-final. Australia pitted against England in the second semi-final clash. That is all for the moment. Our next English bulletin airs at 11 a.m. Keep watching Kantipur Television SD for more news and entertainment. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day ahead.